Have you ever met the average American man? Well, his name is Robert. This is the nominal level of measurement, and he is 31 years old. This is the ratio level. He's 69.5 inches tall. Again, we have a ratio level of measurement. He weighs 172 pounds, wears a 9.5 shoe, has a 34-inch waist, and wears a 40-inch suit. In addition, the average man eats 4 pounds of potato chips, watches 1,456 hours of television, and eats 26 pounds of bananas each year. He also sleeps 7.7 hours per night. That's a whole lot of statistics. 5 feet, 9.5. It's average. So let's begin tonight's discussion with measures of location. We just don't have one level or one measurement of location. In fact, in statistics, we find many measurements. What we're going to cover tonight is 4. We're going to talk about the arithmetic mean, the median, the mode, and the weighted mean. The arithmetic mean of a population. Let's back up. Someone tell me, what is the arithmetic mean? Average. The average. So we are going to talk about mean or the average. Wisconsin, you seeing the board?
No. I see the board, but I can't see what you just wrote. It's too tall.
Yeah, around. They didn't give me my parameters today, so I don't know.
A little high. All right, right there in where your eraser is the corner.
All right.
You can go a little bit more to the right.
You go
right. You are.
No, left, right there, we go.
Yep, you're fine there.
All right. I can stay within that range.
Okay.
The first thing we said was
Too high.
There we go.
There you go.
all right. The mean or the average. I remember we had to angle it down, again, hopefully to take away some of the glare. All right, so when we talk about the arithmetic mean or mean, you're referring to the average. Now, does everyone know how to calculate the average? The sum divided by a number. All right, well, let's look at this. First, we'll talk about the population mean. The formula for the population mean. Everyone has their symbol. Remember from the beginning. What I just put up was the Greek symbol of mu. This is the symbol that denotes the population mean. And we said it was the sum divided by the number. Whenever you see this Greek symbol of sigma, this is telling you to sum. So I'm going to sum all of my x variables and divide it by the number of variables that I have. So real quick, if I have the numbers, ten, 7, 3, 8, and 5. And this is my population. What's my first step? I'm going to sum these variables. And divide it by, and I hear 5, the number of units, or 5. Over here is 6.6. Everybody notice I changed that to a capital. Now the sample mean. Is denoted by X bar. Notice I did not change anything. You're going to know if you see this X bar, what are we referring to?
Sample.
The sample. Move. The population. The population mean, the denominator will be a capital N. The sample mean, it will be a lowercase n. Now I'm going to introduce two terms here. A parameter. A parameter is any characteristic of the population. A statistic is any characteristic of the sample. A statistic. And remember, the population, all-encompassing, it's everything. It's our parameter that we're concerned with. It's our parameter of what we are interested in knowing something about. The sample is a statistic that we have taken from that population. Now there's a weakness with the mean. Who can tell me what that is?
Just the average doesn't mean it's what average.
Yeah.
It doesn't take into account like those outliers. Like you could have the bulk of numbers, let's say ranging 20 to 30, but you have an outlier of 1 and an outlier of 200. Those two numbers get averaged in with the bulk of your numbers.
Correct. So with the mean, we take into consideration every unit for every variable. In this population, we took in every unit. In the sample, remember, we summed every unit. Now what happens if we have some major outlier? Let's say here, I put 1,000. Somebody recalculate. Populate the thing.
172.
What is
172.2.
170.2. Let's look at our We're live. So with this outlier, can you see the influence that this had on our mean? And I mean, you could think about this, that salaries within your department, 10,000, 7,000, let's just say bonuses, 10,000, 7,000, 3,000, 8,000, 5,000, 1 million.
That's the kind of bonus I need right now.
Go work on Wall Street. Now, put it not.
You talk about yourself? You said you've always worked that way.
There's my bonus.
So, when you're talking about the salary, remind me that the United States averaged about 50,000 income.
Okay.
Is that sound okay, or is that sound a little bit high, or, I don't know.
That was even median household income, how they reported, ain't it? I included.
Yeah, I can't speak to where the mean income is here in the United States, but I think 50,000 might be low or excuse me, high for an individual. We're saying more for a household.
I thought the household was like 55, but I read it somewhere. But
I would probably go more in that line if we were speaking about a household. So the point is, this shows the weakness of using the mean. Is if we have any high or low extremes, it's going to drag down or blow up our average. It's going to misstate it. All right, so what are we going to do about it?
That remind me about, the United States having some people with like $100 million or whatever, it's just
Correct,
like
it
now,
would state it. So
and then-
identifying this weakness, what are we going to do?
That's when we use the arithmetic mean.
No, this is. the
Oh, never mind.
median.
I was jumping ahead. I was just trying.
How about,
Median?
how about the
Oh, the
median?
median. Yeah.
The median. Okay, what is the median?
Let's make numbers in the middle,
Middle.
you put them in sequential order.
Midpoint of the values after they have been ordered from the minimum to the maximum.
The midpoint of the values after they have been ordered from the minimum to the maximum. Okay, using this number, what is our median? Correct, we'll use these.
So we got 3.
Let me add some
We
more
got
now.
5.
Let's take this 1,000 out.
No, we.
And I am going to add
Have 2.
2. All right, someone calculate the mean for me again.
2, 5, 7, 3. 2, 5, 2, 3, 5, 7, 8. You got the 10, and then we got 1,000, right?
So,
It's 7?
Yeah, so this one.
Okay, so the mean is 7.
7, yeah.
Now, step 1, defining the median. We said it's the midpoint.
no, I didn't pick up the median, I'm sorry. I thought you were asking the median.
No. We're still doing the mean.
Still in the mean?
Keep working.
The mean's close. It's close to what it was before, hang on.
That would be 147, 147,
147.86. All right. Now the mean.
Oh, the means,
We said step one was what are we going to do?
Tell me what I got. 103,000 divided by 6, right?
125 divided by 7.
Oh, you added it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Remember, this is 1,000.
Yeah, 103,000 divided by, I still put 6 numbers. It's actually 7 numbers. So it's around 4.
Okay, so step one, we said we were going to put them minimum to maximum. We're going to arrange them. So we have a 2, a 3, a 5, a 7, an 8, 10, and 1,000. Where is my midpoint?
7.
7. 3 values to the right, 3 values to the left. Now, what happens if, pick another number, 14. All right,
So we got 2.
now we're going to have to recalculate here.
7, 8, 10, 14,000. Okay. Okay. No, it's going to be 1, 3. Oh, meaning 1, 3, 1.
131.13. Now, for the midpoint, let's arrange them in order. We have a 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, 10, 14, 1,000. Where is my midpoint?
50. 7 and a half. 7 and a half. You add the 7 and the 8. It's even though.
Well, now we have an even number of variables.
Calculate the mean of the middle 2 observations.
The mean of the middle 2 observations. You had it.
Yeah, I thought I did, but then I second guessed myself.
Second guess yourself. So what are our 2 middle values? 7 and 8. And what's the mean of those 2 middle values? We would have 15 divided by 2. 7.5. Now again, slightly distorted outcomes. You can definitely see the power of this outlier. Here, we have a more realistic location.
So would you leave the outlier out when you're doing these calculations?
No. We just minimized its influence down here. All right. The third to talk about is the mole.
That is frequency.
Well, what is the mole?
Frequency.
Whatever variable occurs the most.
the value that occurs the most. So if I have these values,
7,
what's my mode?
7.
How many times do we have a 7 occurring?
2 sevens, 2 18s.
2, 18. 2 1s.
We have 2 1s, 2 7s, 2 18s,
1.
Oh, 1.
so the mode is 1. We good, Wisconsin?
How do you get 1? Boston. Keep the head one.
Yeah, the number down there at the end.
1.
Oh, I didn't see that one there.
Yes.
All right. Lastly,
Real quick, if we're given a example on homework or quiz or whatever, and it says, what is the mode, and we get multiple answers that have the same amount, just put no mode,
no.
what?
If you encounter a problem that has the same number of occurrences repeated, in that prior example there, I would list them all.
The mode would have been 1, 18, and 13, or whatever.
Yeah, you technically have more.
But if there is no number that repeats, that's when we would put no mode.
If there's no number that repeats, there will be no mode.
Just want to make sure for future reference.
Okay. The last unit of observation here is the weighted mean. So this technically would be the fourth one. The weighted mean.
Too high.
Draw a line right there.
Okay.
What page is it on? Oh, here it is.
You will refer to page 64. Everyone refer to this formula. What are we dividing by? Sum of the weights. All right, let's come up with an example of a weighted average. Let's take it a classic example of your grade point average. So let's think about the GPA. All right, now traditionally, keyword here being traditional. A's, you receive how many points for? 4. B's, 3. you're going to look like this. All right, now, if you got an A, we're going to say you earned an A in a 3-hour course. You earned a B in a 4-hour course. And a C in a 3-hour course. So we don't even. What is my weighted average here? What is my GPA? So just finished my first term with the 10 hours, I earned an A, a B, a C. This one, we're going to say that was my lab. So what's the first thing that we do?
3 times 4.
And where are we going to weight the B?
No, 3 times 4.
How many points do I get for? Oh, 3.
And then 3 times 3.
What are we dividing by?
3 times 4. 9.
Let's look at the book.
The hours.
10 for 10 hours.
10 for 10 hours. 4, 7, 10.
So we need 3.
So 12 plus 12 plus 6. Is equal to 30. Divided by 10 is equal to 3.0. So your GPA after the first semester is 3.0. Now I will say we will use the weighted mean whenever we find a lot of repeating variables. So in this case, you know that as we extended out the term, most of our values are going to fall within 4, 3, and 2. Okay, and especially when you want to weight or give more credit to something that might have required more. In this case, you took a 4-hour course. Any questions?
You can use that when you're dealing with a lot of white variables.
Correct. All right. So here, remember, from the mean, the median, the mode, and the weighted, we talked about location. Where was a unit located? We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to look at dispersion.
Shirley, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Earlier when you like that sheet, with like all the symbols and stuff like that.
Yes,
That was something that was part of our technology glitch at the first part of the class last week. So can you like tell us again where to find that?
was that in materials? Or
I think I speak really well.
You're all gone. Alright. Well, that's not my mouse, that's Shreya's.
Is that like elevator music?
I don't know.
Oh, I found it.
6% of their brain, 97% use just 3%, the rest goes down the drain. I'll never know which one I am, but I'll bet you my last name.
When he answers, he if he ever answers.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's talking and he just like,
I don't know. I don't think anybody's in there.
he can't just watch the thing.
They're both on mute. There.
That's always been on mute.
No, but even one of them has been on mute, but the other one is.
Oh, mute too. Oh, the chalkboard is. I mean the.
Yeah, because we're not muted right now. Oh, that's all. There you have it.
They say that 3% of people use 5 to 6% of their brain. 97% use just 3%, the rest goes down the drain.
symbols.
No, but I know that's the big cheat sheet in the back of this book.
Yeah, the book has a cheat sheet right here. But I
I know,
didn't
but
even
there
look-
was one that was online that I showed last.
Yeah, you showed,
You
you showed us just, but I didn't look it for it.
Is it on that website?
Did you look in the back of the textbook?
The back textbook?
Yes.
It has a cardboard one,
Oh, okay,
and it has a chapter,
look there.
what the formula is, like chapter 3.
But I do know we looked at one online.
Yeah, we
Isn't that
did.
MH whatever website, that's in the book all over the place?
It was in one of those tab things.
That's okay, I'm better with hard copies, so I just appreciate knowing where it's at.
I don't remember what the website is. I tried to go to that website once, just for, I don't know why that is. I mean, I can't remember.
It's in it's that sheet of samples she gave us, the codes, whatever, symbols, and you have it online.
Was it on the McGraw-Hill site?
Yeah. that's
No,
what
wasn't it on the line of where the discussion board is and everything?
Oh, it's in Blackboard?
Yeah, but you put it in Blackboard.
Oh, you got paid all the money? I remember you pulling.
Because I saw it.
Where we were at.
I remember seeing it, but I don't remember how it,
I didn't have it in the discussion board. I don't think.
not the discussion board, but over there by the, it was somewhere in the, one of those tab thingies.
Remind y'all, don't forget your introductions. It's down at the
Oh,
bottom.
yeah, here's that website, www.mhhe.com/min16e, but I don't know if that's where you did it. I know you talked about it.
Right now.
Anything on that
I couldn't
website.
either. Is there something on there you gotta do to, like, I think,
Yeah.
like, next to our problems, there was like a file.
Your data file is where you're gonna get your information for the file.
But like your output, anything off that website. Like I could click on tabs, but then it would just say, I could click a link to get anything off that page.
I'm sitting on it right now.
Like most, it's like a Monday to Wednesday.
Sure. Click.
Yeah.
Data sets are Applewood, banking, baseball,
So I thought it was.
district, Goodyear. Data files, you have one for each chapter.
So we need to get in tune with that website.
If you go to Screen Cam tutorials, you have a tutorial for Excel 2003, 2007
Oh, where's that at?
on the McGraw-Hill site. Speaking of the tutorial, I want to remind you all too that you have access through Ottawa to Net Tutor. Have you all used that?
No, I don't know anything about that.
If you log into Ottawa,
I'm not familiar with it.
let me find it.
Page 3, symbols for final project.
Yeah, if you go to My Ottawa, Wisconsin, have you all used Net Tutor before?
No,
Yeah, if you go to My Ottawa and you click on the Gangwish Library,
Click on what?
Gangwish, that's a name, library. And if you scroll all the way down the right-hand side, Maybe about halfway down the page, you see tutoring service for students. Online tutoring, net tutor, here is a net tutor.
Which one could we use?
Well, the first one says, please note this service is a state resource. Click on it and it'll direct you to that website. You can get showing get started.
So click on the first
And I
one.
do know I spoke with someone today and they were telling me that you could, I've never used it, telling me that you actually can interact with someone, you can pose questions to them. And I know what this is. I go back to me being in graduate school, and it's how we work out debts because we just sit online and we wait for your questions to come through. It helps us answer.
So we
Helps us
click on
answer questions and
Gamish Library, scroll down, on the right-hand side, down, tutorial, click on the first one.
just contact the library.
Just contact the library.
Yeah, since you're taking notes. Just contact the library.
I'm on the Cambridge Library online.
If you go down. Service for students.
So you want to
Now, I will remind you though, where do you think your best resources?
Your email account.
Yes, I'm not abandoning you. I'm not pushing you off.
So this is.
Hey, and listen, if for those of you who reached out to me today, I hope I was, like I said, I hope I was quick.
You were very quick.
One of you contacted me and I was standing on the steps going into a wedding. And I saw that call and I went, I better take that. I wasn't much help at the time because literally people were looking at me like, my mom was sitting there like, put that phone down. I can tell you, I'm just the opposite. I talk this thing to death during the day. When I come home, I throw it down. I usually don't pick it back up. Then I watch my wife, who's in the classroom all day, a third grade teacher. She's never on her phone, and she's constantly has hers out at night. She's chatting with people. I love it.
Yeah, the tutorial for Excel, is it the same spot?
No, that was on the McGraw-Hill website.
Where's that? I forget. I was looking through my notes, I don't remember.
Click on page XDI for 16.
It's right here.
www.mhe.com/Lynn.
It's so much experience.
The website also, like pretty much all the exercises.
Oh, I didn't know.
And there.
Oh, yeah, right. I didn't know that.
All right, so we're gonna be picking back up on page 68 with dispersion. So you kind of know where I'm going. I'm gonna take you through range, variance, standard deviation. that's it. Let's see, we did skip some stuff. Let's skip the geometric mean. Really, I could have taken you just through the mean, median, and mode. I don't think you have to use the weighted mean on your homework. I just always like to show that so you don't have to quickly calculate GPAs. All right, so page, what I said, 68. And we are going to talk about dispersion.
Okay, so the mean and the median and the mode only describes the center of the data.
So now we're going to talk about dispersion.
So dispersion talks about the spread of the data.